It's Tuesday, February 6th. In the headlines, dozens of Jamaicans fall victim to new Ponzi scheme. In business news, NCB says lower unemployment, falling interest rates expected to boost consumer spending. Regionally, CARFA ensuring the health and security of CARICOM nationals. And in sports, West Indies lose by 8 wickets to Australia in third ODI. This is the news on PBC Jamaica. I'm Simone Absalom Gale. Dozens of Jamaicans are reporting that they have lost millions in a new Ponzi scheme which crashed on January 29 after operating for a little over a year. Reports are that some investors openly sobbed in a members-only social media group in the aftermath of the meltdown. The losses range from $7,500 to as much as $3 million per individual. The Observer Online reports that the Ponzi scheme is a spin-off of an entity, Get GXL, that allegedly defrauded thousands of people in Trinidad and Tobago last year. Prime Minister Andrew Holness says the government's work continues despite the announcement of the impending local government elections. His remarks follow critiques that the ruling party is utilizing government projects to encourage votes. He gave his response during a symbolic water supply ceremony in Eden District in Moko, Clarendon recently.
I am not going to stop or delay the good work of the government, even though it coincides with an election campaign. If there were no campaign, I would be out here doing this anyway, turning on water or making people who don't have access to proper housing, giving them access to proper housing, or doing a groundbreaking for a park or opening a new hotel, whatever it is. The work of the government continues.
Mr. Holness says over the years, his administration has been working to supply potable water to areas that have not had piped water before. According to Mr. Holness, there are some communities that the National Water Commission cannot serve just yet, based on their location.
Sometimes terrain, sometimes distance from water supply and source. And so what the NWC has to do over time is that as these communities are built out, as they grow, because you have a main road down there, the Moko Road, and then you have a road lead off, and then before you know it, you start off with 20 houses, and then in 20 years' time, now you have 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 houses. When that road was built, with the water main on it, nobody was thinking about Eden District at the time. So Eden District emerged over time after the infrastructure is laid.
Turning to the matter of payment, Mr. Holness says despite provisions made in certain areas for subsidized payment, the standard rate applies.
The NWC is what we call the utility provider of water, meaning that they provide a service, a public service for pay. It is not social water.
The Electoral Office of Jamaica is confident it will complete its recruitment of Election Day workers by the end of this week as it prepares for the February 26 local government election. Director of Elections Glaspole Brown says there has been a very positive public response to the recruitment drive and the training is going well. He says preparations will be enhanced after nomination day on February 8. Mr. Brown is also encouraging voters to collect their identification cards ahead of the February 26 election. The Early Childhood Commission, ECC, is reporting that it has established more than 100 brain builder centers across the country. The program is aimed at reducing cognitive learning challenges among infants in the country. More in this report from Denise Rodney.
The initiative, which was launched by the Ministry of Education and Youth in 2018, is done in partnership with the Early Childhood Commission and is a framework for action in the first 1,000 days of a child's life, which starts from conception in the womb to age 2 years. Director of Cross-Sectoral Coordination at the ECC, Michelle Campbell, told a recent JIS think tank that the ECC is pleased with reaching its target number of 126 Brain Builder centers.
The ministry has done a tremendous job in helping us to establish additional Brain Builder centers. In history, we would have focused more on our 4 and 5 year olds, and research indicates that we have to start a little bit earlier. The Ministry of Health has a responsibility for the pregnant mothers, and then once those children are born, at some point the Commission takes on a responsibility when our children begin to enroll in daycares.
Director of Regulations and Monitoring at the ECC, Dr. Tracy Morgan Smith, explains that Brain Builder centers are now in each constituency.
We will have indeed better outcomes. So initially, Michelle, we wanted to have one in each constituency. Now we have 127 of them, just as legacy project. And so this is something where really the ministry is very passionate about this initiative, extremely passionate.
She also encouraged parents to take full advantage of the opportunities that exist in the Brain Builder centers across the country.
So what is it that they get? They get qualified teacher, caregiver, they get a cook, they get janitor, they get all the supply, all the furnishing for these Brain Builder centers, and that is just absolutely marvelous. And it also means there is no fees attached. So within our Brain Builder centers, the 3 facility types, whether public, private, or public-private institutions, can apply for a Brain Builder center. And it means that even if it is a private institution, you will not be paying a fee for your child.
Interested persons can contact the ECC to get a list to locate the Brain Builder Center in their community. Reporting for the news on PBCJ, I'm Denise Rodney.
Jamaica's Governor General Sir Patrick Allen is wishing King Charles III a full and speedy recovery following his recent cancer diagnosis. A statement from Buckingham Palace on Monday morning said that during the British King's recent hospital procedure for an enlarged prostate, diagnostic tests identified a form of cancer, and his medical team has started a schedule of regular treatments. In a press release, Sir Patrick says, quote, "On behalf of the people of Jamaica, we extend our unwavering support and heartfelt wishes for your swift recovery," end quote. He adds, quote, "May your treatment allow you to return to full health speedily. Our thoughts and prayers are with you every step of this journey," end quote. February is Heart Month. In this week's Living Healthy report, we'll be taking a closer look at obesity and the different risk factors associated with cardiovascular disease. Overweight and obesity are defined as abnormal or excessive fat accumulation that presents a risk to health. The prevalence of overweight or obesity in Jamaica has been steadily increasing over the past decade and is now a significant health issue. Being overweight or obese is associated with numerous health complications. The common ones are inflammation, diabetes, and cardiovascular disease.
1 in 2 Jamaicans, as highlighted by Dr. Chung earlier, 15 years or older are overweight. And this is something that we must address. Obesity comes with serious health issues, namely heart disease. Obese individuals also have a much greater chance of developing diabetes. We know from the Jamaica Health and Lifestyle Survey, which was conducted in 2017, that approximately 30% of Jamaicans had high blood pressure, 17% had high cholesterol, and 10% had diabetes. So every adult really should know what their health numbers are, what their blood pressure is, what their blood sugar and cholesterol levels, as well as their body mass index.
In 2019, Jamaica had created an initiative where they are changing the type of food that is allowed in schools to prevent the consumption of unhealthy food.
In 2019, Jamaica would have introduced restrictions on the sale of sweetened beverages in our schools, and the Ministry of Health and Wellness, along with the Ministry of Education and Youth, has developed a national school nutrition policy along with school nutrition standards, which are slated to be presented to Cabinet shortly, that will guide the purchase and the consumption of products within our school environments.
We need to exercise often to help maintain a good BMI. That's body mass index.
In the same Jamaica Health and Lifestyle Survey in 2017, we found that 82% of Jamaicans were engaged in low levels of physical activity.
What are some of the risk factors associated with cardiovascular disease?
Jamaica and other Caribbean countries are no outliers. Jamaica, unfortunately, as Dr. Spence said, has a high prevalence of cardiovascular disease risk factors. Just over half of us are obese or overweight, a quarter hypertensive, 1/8 have high cholesterol, and just about 1/10 are known to have diabetes. Pre-diabetes would bring that up to a lot more.
When it comes on to obesity and heart health, we know that being obese or overweight is a leading risk factor for heart disease and stroke. Globally, childhood obesity has increased tenfold over the last 40 years.
These conditions are the known risk factors for cardiovascular disease. And some of these numbers represent searching questions about whether we are doing our part. Death and disability from cardiovascular disease can often be prevented by living a healthy lifestyle.
And that's it for the Living Healthy Report. Time now for the Business Report with Denise Williams.
Good day, everyone, and thank you for joining us on the Business Report. I'm Denise Williams, your guide through the latest happenings in the world of business. Consumer goods firm Dermont Trading Company Limited has secured a U.S. $13 million financing partnership with the investment arm of the Inter-American Development Bank. Latin America and the Caribbean region is responsible for 40% of the food traded worldwide. At IDB Invest, we are committed to working with companies like Dermont in Jamaica to play a leading role in being a part of the solution to global needs, said James Scriven, CEO of IDB Invest. The partnership is structured in 3 tranches and is expected to propel Dermont toward achieving key initiatives focused on trade financing, brand building, employment generation, and green energy implementation. Tranche 1, a committed senior financing of up to US $3 million to finance the implementation of solar panels and modernization of the company's warehouse and distribution center in Jamaica. Tranche 2, a committed revolving credit line of up to US $5 million to purchase goods from eligible suppliers in various jurisdictions, including Guyana, Suriname, and Norway. Tranche 3, an uncommitted senior financing of up to US $5 million to finance capital expenditure and/or working capital needs in Jamaica. NCB Capital Markets has informed investors that lower unemployment and higher real home incomes on the back of falling interest rates are expected to boost consumer spending, which should support business activity and, by extension, corporate earnings. The NCB Cap Market Assessment is supported by the results of the JCC Business Confidence Survey released last month, which found that firms shared this optimistic view of the economy. Generally, more firms expect to see improvements in the economy, which could be attributed to a boom in other sectors like tourism and mining and quarrying, and favorable government policies, which are likely to have a positive impact. Angus Young, CEO of NCB Capital Markets, noted that much of the gains are expected to come in 2025, given that interest rates are expected to fall much more slowly relative to their dramatic rise starting in 2021. Despite a generally favorable outlook, geopolitics, election outcomes in major economies, and severe weather conditions are downside risks that could impact supply chains, costs, and profitability. As such, businesses will need to factor in and create contingencies around their potential impacts in their 2024 strategic plans. During trading on February 5, 2024, the top advancing stocks covered the distribution, logistics, and utilities sector on the Jamaica Stock Exchange. Jamaica Producers Group Limited shares advanced by 14.71% for a jump in price of $3.33 to close at $25.97 with 94,412 shares traded. Cargo Handlers Limited shares advanced by 12.18% for an upward movement of $1.62 to close at $14.92 with 4,201 shares traded. JPS 7% shares advanced by 10% for a $4.19 price incline to close at $46.09 with 10 shares traded. On the declining stocks that traders experienced on February 5, 2024, the top three losers covered the health, advertising, and food sectors. G West Corporation Limited declined by 13.4% for a 12-cent slip in price to close at 80 cents with 127,000 shares traded. The Limners and Bards Limited declined by 11.27% for a 16-cent drop in price to close at $1.26 with 48,000 shares traded. Everything Fresh Limited declined by 10.91% for a drop in 18 cents to close at $1.47 with 5,034 shares traded. Over on the Twin Island Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, for February 5, 2024, trading activity on the first tier market registered a volume of 98,867 shares, crossing the floor of the exchange valued at 1.2 million TT dollars. Massey Holdings Limited was a volume leader with 30,000 shares changing hands for a value of 129,000 TT dollars, followed by NCB Financial Group Limited with a volume of 15,600 shares being traded for $45,000. Moving from the money moves of investors, executives, and companies, we turn to the Forex market. On February 5, 2024, the Bank of Jamaica reported that US $27.5 million was bought from Forex traders, while US $20 million was sold to Forex traders. Buying directly from the Bank of Jamaica, foreign currency traders sold the US dollar for $156.74 and bought the US dollar for $155.56. The difference between the buy and sell rate was $1.18, which represents a profit for Forex traders for every US dollar traded. Canadian Forex traders earned a trading profit of $8.88 from transactions with the Bank of Jamaica. The Canadian dollar was sold at $118.62 and bought for $109.74. For traders looking at the British pound, they pocketed a profit of $10.06, selling it for $203.09 and buying it for $193.03. For our credit report tip of the day, with a high credit score, you can become eligible for lower interest rates on loans. This not only saves you money, but also allows you to borrow more without breaking the bank. Your credit report is your ticket to cost-effective financing. And with that, we wrap up today's business report. I'm Denise Williams. Appreciate your company. stay well informed, stay ahead of the curve. Until our next update, take care.
In regional news, the health security of Barbados and the CARICOM is at the foremost in the mind of the Caribbean Public Health Agency, and that's why they are increasing their meetings with other relevant agencies. Dr. Joy St. John, Executive Director of CARFA, says they started mobilizing last year. Dr. St. John says they are concerned that testing has been reduced and would like to see PCR testing resume.
CARFA is meeting constantly with the chief medical officers since last year. No, it isn't just CARFA. CARFA is a security cluster, which is led by CARICOM Impacts. So CARICOM Impacts, Regional Security Systems, SEDIMA, and CARFA have been meeting regularly with their different sectors. CARFA leads health. We've been meeting regularly with the different sectors, and CARFA has been meeting regularly outside of these preparations for Cricket World Cup for regional health security. CARFA and University of the West Indies St. Augustine are the ones that do gene sequencing in the Caribbean. But most of the member states have been sending to us constantly, or we take something from what they send for other respiratory screens throughout the year. That didn't stop. So this is why I'm able to tell you this is what's circulating, because we are keeping up. There is also the COVID-19 testing without gene sequencing, testing with PCR and so on. It is that we have asked people to start doing again.
Scores of teachers went on strike across Guyana as part of industrial action planned by the Guyana Teachers Union on Monday. While some teachers opted to stay in their classrooms and not teach, others took to the streets in their respective regions, picketing Ministry of Education buildings. Here are some of what transpired.
This is what transpired in front of the Ministry of Education's Brickdam Georgetown office on Monday. Here, teachers were calling for better salaries and more duty-free concessions. These calls are part of a multi-year agreement the Ghana Teachers Union, called GTU, proposed to the Education Ministry in 2020.
Teachers do work hard, we study hard, we work hard, and we need to be remunerated accordingly.
We know that it's the nation's children. I've been feeling for the nation's children for a long time. But parents need to understand and come out and support, because their children are affected with what is affecting us. Nobody knows what teachers go through. Nobody knows how we get to school on many days. We have to be on the road, standing up for transportation, being squeezed in buses, reaching to work late.
Across the country, there were other teachers on strike as part of industrial action planned by the GTU because all of its demands had not yet been met. GTU General Secretary Coretta MacDonald spoke to reporters at Brickdam.
We submitted a proposal since 2020. This is 2024. But what we recognize they've been doing over the years, they have been pulling from our proposal. They've been pulling the conditions we're asking for, tweeting them. And my good friend Saddam Hussein, he's putting out all kinds of things out there, suggesting that the GTU asked for 41 issues and they've already satisfied 21 or 27, something like that. But these issues have been there long.
The strike was deemed an illegal one since the preconditions have not yet been met. And though scores of teachers protested, many remained in their classrooms and taught throughout the day. This was evident through photos uploaded by the Ministry of Education on its official Facebook page. The Ministry of Education, in 2 separate notices, also accused some head teachers of locking schools to prevent teachers from entering, and noted that other teachers were being threatened and intimidated by GTU agents and other persons. Reporting for the newsroom, Vishani Raghabir.
In a momentous achievement, Donnell Physics Smith, a talented individual of Grenadian heritage, has secured a Grammy Award in the category of Best Compilation Soundtrack for Visual Media.
A young man of Grenadian descent has just won a Grammy Award. Donnell Physics Smith, born to a Grenadian mother, won the prestigious Grammy Award for Best Compilation Soundtrack for Visual Media, thanks to his remarkable engineering work on Barbie Dreams, a song on Barbie the Album, soundtrack for the 2023 film Barbie. GBN had the privilege of an exclusive interview with Smith on Monday.
I go by Physic in the music industry. I have been doing music since I was 13 years old, 13, 14, and I'm 29 now, making 30 this year. My ties to Grenada, so my mom, she's originally from Grenada, Simone, but everybody knows her as QT. I actually went to Westmoreland from 2011 to 2012, so I graduated 2012.
Smith, a graduate of the Westmoreland Secondary School, detailed the inception of his engineering career.
Being in the industry, I came out here. I'm in California right now, so I came out here for college in 2015, and I ended up getting an internship in a studio in 2018. And since then, I've been in the industry sharpening my craft and, networking and building relations with different artists, different labels, executives, and getting to where I am today.
This Grammy triumph adds to Smith's list of notable accomplishments.
So my first actual award was a Billboard chatting placement with Polo G. So Polo G, he's a rapper from Chicago, and he's one of the best-selling rappers in the music industry right now. He's on the Columbia Records. That project is now double platinum, and the song itself is platinum. For those who don't know, platinum means it sold 1 million records. Double platinum means 2 million. Another project I worked on recently last year was Sexy Red. She had a viral song going around called Ski. I ended up engineering that song, and it went really crazy on TikTok. And Rolling Stone ended up ranking it the #1 song of 2023, which I'm blessed to have had under my belt. And then I ended up getting the Barbie album.
Smith's win was announced on Sunday at the 66th Grammy Awards in California in the USA. The movie soundtrack also received a Grammy nomination for Best Score Soundtrack for Visual Media. Smith's Grammy Award comes on the heels of his incredible win at the recent Billboard Music Awards, where Barbie the Album took home the top soundtrack winner title.
In sports, West Indies suffered a whitewash in the 3-match one-day international series against Australia after an 8-wicket thrashing at Manuka Oval on Tuesday. Australia playing their 1,000th ODI, the second nation to do so after India, were almost flawless following comprehensive victories in Melbourne and Sydney. The match lasted just 31 overs and was completed in 3 hours, including the innings break. Australia 87 for 2 beat West Indies 86 by 8 wickets. The biggest party in sport will succeed the T20 World Cup, and the dates have been confirmed. Here's more.
The second most viewed T20 franchise tournament in the world, the Caribbean Premier League has confirmed the dates for the 2024 edition. The CPL will take place from August 28th to October 6th. The final will once again take place in Guyana, with the National Stadium in Providence hosting the conclusion of the men's event for the 3rd year. Barbados, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia and Trinidad and Tobago are expected to continue hosting matches. With the return of the Antigua franchise, tournament organisers also expect a return of matches to the island, which will be welcome news for fans along with an economic impact. All top West Indian stars are expected to be available as the tournament window does not clash with any West Indies fixtures. Pete Russell, Republic Bank CPL's Chief Executive Officer, said, "We are very pleased that this window allows the CPL to give the best players from the Caribbean the opportunity to showcase their talents. As always, we would like to thank Cricket West Indies for their help and support in finding a window that works so well for all stakeholders." Meanwhile, Johnny Grave, Chief Executive Officer of Cricket West Indies, said, with the 2024 CPL taking place just 2 months after hosting the ICC Men's T20 World Cup in the region, it provides another fantastic opportunity for our fans to enjoy some world-class cricket and for our regional governments to benefit from more cricket-generated economic activity.
And that's it for the news on PBCJ. Thank you so much for watching.